See, he's up here. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't see any, like, blunt force trauma. It's just strange that they would both be down, bro.
Yeah.
If we go through both of these videos again, first of Gene Hackman down on the floor in the mudroom, that's an area adjoining the kitchen, but some distance from Betsy. And then Betsy on the floor in a bathroom area immediately below the bathroom counter. What do you notice both about these incident scenes in two very different quadrants of the house? What do they have in common?
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science. Now, both Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa are feet away from doors. When the cops arrived, there was actually an open door in the rear of the house as well. Not just open, but propped open, although it's not clear if this was the door that led from the outside into the room where Betsy lay. We do know this door was kept open to allow the dogs to go in and out as they wished. But that's the first observation. Both of them lay down on the ground near exit points in the home. Not in either of the bedrooms, not in the lounges or other living areas. In other words, Hackman and Betsy seemed on their way somewhere through the house when they died. Is that fair to say? In this analysis, I want to challenge the notion that Hantavirus is the cause of Betsy's death, or the sole cause of her death. I mean, if Hantavirus killed her, why not Hackman, who was much older and a lot more fragile? Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Bear in mind there's also clue number 1, 2, and 3 that we all missed. If you're finding this one interesting, you might want to look at those as well. Wait until the end of the video to get links to those videos. Also be providing some footage I took on the ground when I was in New Mexico near the end of this video, so look out for that. If you're finding this analysis worthwhile, please do hit the thanks button and let's get started. So what does it mean that Betsy and Gene Hackman were sort of lying very close to doors, to exit points in the house? What does that mean? Well, first of all, I do think it's reasonable to speculate in this area for the simple reason that Hantavirus is rare and unusual. If there's been one area that the news media have been consistent on, it's on this particular fact. Hantavirus is rare. And so even if it's demonstrably the cause of death, even if it is, it would be quite strange and unusual. Let me explain. Did you know that in the first 3 months of this year, New Mexico reported its first Hantavirus case of 2025? And guess who that first and only case in the entire state was? Betsy Arakawa. In 2024, there were just 7 cases in New Mexico, and the same in 2023, a total of just 7 cases for that entire year as well. So what are the chances that's the case here? The only explanation here? Well, it's not 0, but it's low. Also, not only is this virus rare, but it kills in less than half of all cases. So what I want to do here is challenge the likelihood of the Hantavirus being the obvious cause of death here, or the only cause of death. And remember, in this particular investigation, they sort of rushed the cause of death. They've sort of provided answers very early, perhaps arguably prematurely. And so we're going to test this likelihood by looking at statistical possibilities. We already know that Hantavirus is statistically unlikely. Okay, so what is statistically more likely? Well, isn't it obvious?
It smells like gas.
You smell gas?
Like just...
Yeah.
It's not on, but...
I smell gas.
Smell it.
Yeah, I smell gas.
Yeah.
First, my concern is a carbon monoxide issue.
There are at least 3 separate references to a gas leak or smelling gas by the officers themselves on the scene, and the fact that they not only verbalized this as a likely possibility, but to admit actually smelling gas in the kitchen, not far from where Gene Hackman is lying, meaning there's real smoke here. This is an issue we need to deal with in order to know whether it can or should really be excluded. To begin with, we know that after initially denying there's a gas leak, the residence was tested, leaks were found, but were described as minuscule, only 0.33% gas in the air. Really? Were they really minuscule? If it was so minuscule, why could cops strolling through the kitchen smell it? Now look at the headline beneath the Hackman headline in March. And did you know during an autopsy toxicology, some of which is still pending, they couldn't exclude carbon monoxide poisoning, but simply acknowledged that there were no, quote, significant findings, unquote, right? No significant findings. Isn't it true that some of the same gases dead bodies give off, such as ethanol, are found in these pipes, is in this kind of gas? Also, the most harmful and dangerous gas is the invisible gas seeping unseen through smaller leaks. It's not just me saying that, it's also what researchers say. Just 3 months earlier, a senior center in Santa Fe was closed because of a serious gas leak. That incident was just 7 miles from Hackman's home. 5 years prior, a massive pipeline explosion south of Santa Fe, it killed 10 campers. It created a crater 86 feet long, 46 feet wide, and 20 feet deep. This explosion near Roswell, New Mexico, was so huge it could be seen from 20 miles away in Carlsbad. Although that incident was further afield, more than 200 miles away, it was in New Mexico. Is it fair to say that statistically more people die in New Mexico of gas leaks than hantavirus? What do you think? A year before the pipeline explosion, a house blew up, its occupants still inside in Santa Fe. One witness said, "I heard this loud boom and the house shook, the ground shook, and the roof started shaking." That explosion in Cebola's Circle, I'm probably mispronouncing that, was just 6.5 miles from the Hackman residence on Old Sunset Trail. Hackman and his wife Betsy likely heard that explosion since it was reportedly heard from 10 miles away. Less than 200 miles to the west, another massive explosion leveled a building in Farmington, New Mexico. Cheapers, that damage has to be seen to be believed. It looks like a war zone.
A scene of utter devastation, leaving a small American town looking more like a war zone. The destruction caused by an early morning explosion from a suspected gas leak.
So do you see the officers' caution as they sort of went through the Hackman home regarding a potential gas leak was completely rational? And I can tell you from personal experience, driving from Austin, Texas, through Lubbock into New Mexico and Santa Fe itself via Roswell, I encountered the New Mexico gas fields myself. I drove by signs talking about poisonous gas along the side of the road. In one instance, I got out the vehicle to photograph a pumping jack that was doing its thing on the side of the road. And as I moved to the other side, a white pickup rumbled off the road and came right up to me. A guy jumped out and warned me about poisonous gas around the jack. And just as he was telling me, the breeze shifted and I suddenly smelled it. Raw, corrosive, kerosene diesel fumes that burned my eyes and suddenly made me feel dizzy. In fact, gas explosions are so common in New Mexico, law firms like Hunt Law Firm offer damage compensation services for injuries incurred from gas explosions. So do you agree that at least statistically, a gas leak was a likelier possibility here all along? And before the toxicology results come out, I mean in full, it shouldn't be completely, absolutely ruled out. We've also got to ask, why is Betsy and why is Gene Hackman? Why are they lying on the ground very close to doorways? And that is the number 4 clue we all missed. Now, that's not to say hantavirus wasn't a factor. But in the same way, a gas leak, especially a small leak over a long period of time, could have been an aggravating factor as well, especially in New Mexico where, as we see, gas leaks are common. We also know that Betsy specifically had breathing difficulties, which she confused with COVID. So we know her emergency issue was a respiration issue, a breathing issue. We also know that Hackman died just a few feet from the stove where officers said they could literally smell gas. So wasn't it a factor after all? And if it was a factor, do you really think the gas company would want to raise their hands in a high-profile case like this and say, sure, it could have been?
Food for thought.
I'm not going to take it further than that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.